Hello, St. Peters. I hope you're well and coping with lockdown. So instead of reading you a story, I thought I'd share with you a scratch project that you could make at home. It's not very complicated and I'm sure you'll be fine. You just need a laptop, a PC, or you could even make it on a tablet or an iPad, as long as you've got internet access. Let me show you what it's going to look like. It's called a breakthrough game. So I want to So what you have to do, this is our wall, and we have to use our ball to break through. Okay. It's based very much on a keep yuppie game that I know year 4, 5 and 6 have all had a go at in the past. You bounce your ball and it breaks off a bit of wall, and you win when you get through to the sky or the red bit at the top. Let's stop that. But if you drop the ball, if you miss, then it's game over. Let's have a look at how you can make it. We want to go onto the internet. If you search for Scratch 3, and if you click on the one that says Scratch Imagine Program Share, which is Scratch MIT Edu, then you'll get to this screen, and then all you need to do is press Create. Okay, you don't need that. Okay, so where are we going to start our game? First of all, we're going to make a background. Click on the stage, and if we go to backdrops, and we're going to paint our background. We need 3 bands of colours. I'm going to use a rectangle for this. So I want a sort of a sky colour, top rectangle. Now I don't want a black outline around my sky. So I'm going to go on that red line there. And hopefully that means you can't see the line. Yeah, that's my sky. I need something to be the floor, a completely different colour, or ground, should we say. I'm going to go for a bright pink to be the ground. That's just going to be a very narrow strip down the bottom. So that's if the ball drops to the floor or the ground. Right, and now I need a wall. So I need a wall colour. Something a bit brown, a bit darker, and a bit. Does that look like a brown? Oh, now, it's up to you how thick you do your wall, but obviously you don't want it too thick. Oh, look at that. My ground has changed colour as well, so make sure that goes back. I don't know why that changed colour. I need that back to be a bit There we go. Now, it's important this bit in the middle stays white, so leave that as white. So we've got our sky, we've got our wall, and we've got ground at the bottom. The wall's changed colour. There we go. Now we need a new sprite. So we're going to click on our cat. We don't want the cat, so we're going to get rid of him. What we need is a ball. Okay, so we click on our new sprite button, choose new sprite, go to the magnifying glass, and I'm going to go to the sport section and pick a ball from there. So I'm going to pick a football. Right, common choice. Now our next bit of code is going to be very familiar to lots of you. We just need our ball, okay, to fly around the screen. I'll make these blocks a bit bigger so you can see. So we need forever. It's going to move. If on each bounce, let's have a look. Green flag. Okay, so he is bouncing, but he's going in we need to change his direction. So click on direction, change this. Now have a look. That looks a bit more like it. Okay, super. Now I'm going to leave my ball going quite slowly. If you want him to go a bit faster, you can change that number there. Right, okay, now we need a paddle that's going to go along the bottom so that the ball bounces off the paddle. So I need a new sprite. Now I know my new, I'm just going to search for paddle because there is a, there we go. So that's going to be my paddle, and I'm going to put him back just above the ground. And we need some code for my paddle. I want my paddle just to move backwards and forwards along the bottom, controlled by the mouse. I do not want him to go up and down. So we need to fix the y-axis so he stays at the bottom. So we are going to say, this is going to happen throughout the game, so we need a forever loop. We've got when the green flag is clicked, and we want to set the the position using the x coordinate and the y coordinate. So we are going to set and fix the y. Now, can you see at the bottom up here? Look, currently move the paddle into the right place, and it will tell you what that is. Minus 154 on my screen. So I'm having that as minus 154. That is never going to move up or down now because we fixed it. Now we need to set the x coordinate. Now the x coordinate is going to be exactly the same as the x coordinate for the mouse. If we move the mouse, the paddle will go with it. So we need here, go to the sensing, and there's one called mouse x. So that says set the x coordinate of the paddle to be the same as the x coordinate of the mouse. Let's see if that's working. Okay, can you see me moving this paddle? Wherever I move the mouse, it moves, but if I move it up or down, it won't move up and down. Excellent, that's what we need. Okay, now I think we need our ball to bounce off paddle. So for that, I'm going to switch back to the ball sprite. And we need to use an if loop, if, and we're going to be saying if touching. So we go to our sensing blocks for this, and there's an if touching, can go in there. If touching, and we want it to be if touching the paddle. So we go to this down arrow here, and there should be the word paddle. Now, if you can't see the word paddle, just check you are in the ball sprite. If you're still in the paddle sprite, the paddle can't touch the paddle. So if touching paddle, what do we want to do? We want to bounce off the paddle. Okay, so I am going to, when I touch the paddle, I'm going to change direction. But I'm going to change direction. You can either get to go in exactly the opposite way. Let's see whether, oh, now this is obviously, we want this to happen not just at the beginning of the game, but all the way through the game. So we need to put a forever loop around it. Okay, well, any time in the game that it touches the paddle, it's going to change direction. And we need a green flag. Let's see if that works. No, that doesn't work brilliantly. So let's see why not. I think, why don't we, instead of a point direction, let's try a turn. That might work better. So we're going to turn 180 degrees instead. See whether that works better. Now that looks a whole lot more satisfactory. Part of me is going, now, can you see? It seems to be very much just going one direction all the time. It's very boring. So I think what we can do, add a bit of randomness to this number 180. We go to our maths operators, we go to our pick random, And instead of 108 degrees, let's have it a little bit shallower than 108 degrees. Let's say 150 degrees and a little bit wider than 108 degrees. Let's make that 210. That should give us a bit of variety now. So that when he hits, oh yeah, we've got a bit. It is going off at different angles now. Can you see how sometimes though it does slightly? I might put in a little delay to stop the buffering. Sometimes it bobbles about a bit. So I'm just going to say, after you've done it, just delay for 0.3 seconds. You just make him bounce off a little bit more smoothly. Very nice. Making fun. Good. Okay, right. We now need him to bounce off the wall in much the same way. So we want a code that's really very similar to this. We want another if. And this time, we need to say, how is the ball going to know he's touching the wall? We're going to use an if touching color block. So we're going to say if, now, we need this to be exactly the same brown. On here, this is our color picker. Click on the color picker. And I want exactly that same code as I've got there. I'm going to say turn. And I'm going to say, I want that random number. One to 50, 210. See. Now, we need this to happen all the time, just like we need the paddle. So I'm going to put that not underneath the other if blocks. We've got the first if block goes there, and then our new if touching the brown is there. Let's see what that looks like. And my ball. Oh, do you know what I forgot to do? I think it's important. Our ball is now bouncing up and down the sky. So we need to tell our ball to start in the middle. So I think what we need to do here, when the ball starts, is we can say, go to 0, 0. I'm also going to put in a delay so that the game gives me a minute just to get going before the ball. So it's going to say go to the middle, wait 1 minute, and then start moving. Let's see if that works. That's better. Oh, look at that. Lovely. Good. That's working fine. Right. We perhaps ought to get the ball to be bouncing off this. Oh yeah, no. We need the ball to be chipping away at bits of the wall every time it bounces against the wall. Let's have a look at how we're going to do it. Now, the way we do that is that we make the ball paint a little bit of white or draw a bit of white. Every time it bounces on the wall, it's going to make it a little bit white. And that's going to give us the effect of making it look like we've chipped away at the wall. So to do that, we need to add in some of our extension tools. So if you click on this blue square over here, and we can get on our pen tools, this now gives us this whole set of new tools which we are going to need. We are going to say that our ball is going to draw in white when we need it to. So I am going to say, when the green flag is clicked, I want the pen color, right, just click on this and make sure color picker is exactly the same white. Right, so you're going to set the pen color to white. Now I need the pen to draw as wide as that ball sprite. So I need to set the size. Now, make sure that says set, not change. That's going to be about 30, or maybe 40. How wide? Let's have a look. 40. Right, so that's my pen, but I haven't said when I want it to paint. When it does paint, it's going to paint white. It's going to be 40 width. Go back to our when touching the wall. That's when what we're going to do is, as we touch the wall, before the ball bounces off, it's going to put the pen down. So underneath here, when touching the wall, pen down. And then we're going to draw in a little bit into the wall. So I'm going to say, just move 10 steps. That's not very far. So that'll be 10 steps when you're moving and drawing white, a thick white. Then, when we finish that, we're going to have our pen up. Pen up. There. And then it can bounce off the wall. Let's see what that looks like. There we go. Every time we bounce. Oh, now then, we need to put that right. Can we see how it had a bit of a... So this is what I mean. What we need to do in here before, so this says test to see if you're touching the wall. Now, before it keeps checking, we need to put in a little delay to stop that bit, because that's not what's supposed to happen. Let's say after we've turned, let's have a delay before we go run that little bit again. I'm going to go with 0.5. Let's see what that looks like. Now, the other thing I need to do, can you see, I don't want all this white every time I restart the games. So let's go to our stage. No, we don't. Yeah, wait a second. So we can say what we need. No, I think we better be in ball. Here, setting the pen colour. Let's erase all every time we start a new game. That's a bit tidier. Right. Does it bounce off quite nicely? Very good. Okay, don't watch anymore, Mrs. Blood. So what have we got? So it's bouncing off the paddle, and it's bouncing off the wall, and it's drawing into the wall. So the last two things we need to do, we need to code the sky. That means you've won if the ball touches the sky, and you've lost the game if the ball touches the floor. Let's do the sky first. Okay, so what we want to say is, if the ball touches that blue colour, what we're going to do is we're going to make a new background for the stage saying you are a winner. So that's the first thing I'm going to do, is I'm going to go and I'm going to click on the stage and I'm going to have a look at the backdrop. So this is my first backdrop. So I'm going to name this first one. Okay, because now I'm going to make a new backdrop. But actually, no, what I could do is I might just duplicate the one I've got, but instead I'm going to write on it, you are with exclamation mark. I don't like that red. What would be a good colour? Red. I don't. If I move the red onto the white. There we go. Ooh, ready. You are a winner. Right. So I'm going to call that one though the winner background. Okay, right, back to my ball. Back to the code for the ball. So we need a new if block. This time, if, just underneath that if, just be careful you get all your, don't get them entangled up. This is going below, that's the if touching wall if loop. This is going to be our if touching that sky colour. Go to our sensing, go to our touching colour one. That I don't think is the right blue. Click on here, go your colour picker tool, go on to your blue. Okay. So if touching the sky, what do we want to do? We want to do the You Are a Winner screen. So we can just go to looks and look, switch the backdrop to the You Are a Winner backdrop. Now the thing, as you notice, we've just started the game and we've already a winner before the game's even started, so we can't have that. So what we will do on the stage, we will make sure that at the start of the game that we have the right backdrop. So switch to backdrop. We want the wall backdrop. Okay. That's better. Now, in order to test whether this would actually work, I need to break through the whole wall, and that's going to take quite a while. I'll leave you to test that. Before we finish, we just need to make sure that if the ball touches the purple floor, that the game will stop until the game over. So we're just going to put our very last if block. So we need our final if, that's going to go underneath that one. And this one's going to say if, now whatever colour you've chosen for your floor, if touching the floor, I want to, well, you could change your backdrop to something that says game over. So you can make a new backdrop, call it game over and switch to game over. I'm just going to put stop all for mine, just for speed. Let's just see if that works. Oh, it doesn't work because for some reason that isn't the right colour. What happened there? I'll pick tool. That's not purple. That's better. What happened there? Let's try this again. Right, so just check your bouncing. But if he touches the purple, then he stops. Cool. And that's our game. Now, I'm sure some of you who are really good at Scratch can add lots of extra things. You could add some sound effects, which would be nice. You could add a score, all sorts of different levels. I'm sure all sorts of things you can adapt. It would be great to hear how you get on with that. Do remember to save your game. It's very easy to save. Just save to your computer there. And just remember that if you have any questions, you can contact me through the school email. I would love to hear how you're getting on. There's my email address. So all I want to add is stay calm and keep coding.